All right, so my name is Joseph Odiboye, and I'm just going to rant around how to apply for a job based on the details I intend to share. So you have list of employers in the UK who are licensed by the UK government to give out sponsorship, and I have done the job of extracting their phone numbers and their emails. So what you just need to do is, first and foremost, before you start applying or making use of those details, you need to work on your CV, revamp your CV, and show your CV chronicles the experiences you have or the interest you have. Like I've always said to a lot of people, that applying for a job is not just about the experience, but about the interest as well. It's either you've got the skill and you haven't used it to acquire any experience yet, so that can be traded, or you have the experience, meaning you have the skills and you've used it over time in different organizations, so that accounts as experience for you. And sometimes it might just be interests, not even just the skills. So you have to recall all of those things correctly. I don't, at the moment, offer services of having to help people work on their CV. I'll have said I could do that because I have a lot of things I do right now. So once you're done with your CV, the next thing you should also know is that in the industry, the healthcare industry, it's very important that you also show some level of compliance, which is why they ask you for relevant trainings. And one of the trainings is the care certificate, which is the basic training or the benchmark training you need to have to be able to get a job in the healthcare sector. So you need to get that done. You need to get the healthcare certificate. And once you get the healthcare certificate, then you add that also in your CV. And also, if you have at any point in time participated in any voluntary services of looking after people with special needs or caring for someone, it could even be a family member, ensure you find a way to include that in your CV. And once you've done all of this, then you can now start applying. Now, one other thing I like to mention to a lot of people is, because it's international recruitment, or it's a foreign recruitment, it's a recruitment across different national borders, you need to also have some documentation that's going to give you the right to work in those countries. Example would be, ensure you have your COVID clearance. It's no longer a big deal in Europe, because it's almost like any other kind of sickness from what I see around. But if you have a COVID vaccination certificate, it's good. It's also important that you should have your police clearance to show that you don't have any issue in the country you're coming from. And this, of course, is not limited to any country in particular, but all the countries. Then once that is done, the next thing you need to do is to ensure that you understand what the job entails. So put all these documents together. Put the CV, put the care certificate, put the COVID certification, and also let them understand in your cover letter that you're willing to you would gladly go for your your tuberculosis assessment when given an offer. Because if you go ahead of time, you could waste that tuberculosis assessment. It expires in 6 months. So if you don't get it done on time, if you don't get it done at the right time, you could actually have the certificate expired without you having made use of it. Now, once you have these things together, I would recommend teaching a very young person now. Keep them in a particular folder on your computer, so that when you are about applying, you just go to that folder and pick all these things together, save them in PDF format, and ensure that they are compressed to the smallest size possible, so that they don't tend to take too much space in the mail when you're sending the mail. So once this is done, then you, have to send a mail to each employer, copy the email, put it in the to the receiver's column on your email. Then you should put all the attachments and put a little introduction, a little brief about yourself, something to interest the employer about yourself as you send the mail, so that the employer would also be interested in seeing your details. So the receiver puts the email address as extracted. Now, I could have made some mistakes in the extraction, probably where I'm meant to put a full stop, I put a comma. So these are things that you just need to observe yourself and copy and send to each person. Now, just to mention, if you think it's going to be a lot of work for you, then probably you're not ready to get a job. Because for me, I think it's important you give the work required, and definitely you will be able to get the kind of response. If you think that employers are not still recruiting, then you're actually deceiving yourself, because the job industry is constantly looking for employees. But the problem is always that most people who apply are either not selling themselves the right way or don't even have the experience required to get the job. So most employers will literally not even see what you're trying to say. And if you've ever been in an argument with anyone, you know sometimes when you're right, but you lack the words to express yourself, you still would lose the argument. So you could actually have the skill and be able to get the job done, but if you don't sell that as clearly as possible in your email or in the documents you're attaching and the way you're applying for the job, you can be very certain that the interest does not translate into the employer giving you the job. You must be able to convince the employer. And also, there are lots of people across the world. Now, as I'm sending this document out, I can bet you thousands of people are going to be making use of this document. And if thousands are making use of this document, you can be sure it's not just one person who would be sending to the same employer. And if all of you are sending to this same employer, employers have extracted, then you should ask yourself, who are they going to employ? I'm not sure they have up to 1,000 vacancies in each of these employers' firm, but in the aggregation of the companies that have collated, you might have a chance with several other employers. But for each person, give your job, sell yourself, give your best shot. All right, and I wish you all the best. So I hope this has been able to guide you on how to use this document, which of course is saying you have to get your CV properly done, because that's what you're selling yourself with. Then once your CV is edited properly, the next thing you do is get your care certificate. After your care certificate, then you should also ensure that you have all the supporting documents that could be relevant to the job that you are applying for, and also be able to sell yourself in your introductory notes. Of course, the selling yourself means your employer should be able to see at the first glance the skills you intend to put on the table. Don't forget to include informal experiences that you have, because that will be relevant also on the job. And with this, we should be fine. Everyone should be okay. All right, so that will be all from me for now. If I have any more details I feel I left out, I will do another video and get that done. Peace.